Yes, I finally don't have to worry about getting hate comments this week because we finally come to the prequel that everyone loves. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, written and directed by George Lucas, and the third and final installment of the Star Wars prequel trilogy, and the final Star Wars movie to be directed by George Lucas and written, which many Star Wars fans are probably happy about. Now, Revenge of the Sith is seen by everybody as the one good prequel. I mean, we all know everybody hates Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, but Revenge of the Sith is the only prequel everyone thinks twice about. Surprisingly, when it came out, people actually gave it positive reviews and said it was not that bad. I mean, the film currently has a 79% on Rotten Tomatoes. Empire magazine even rated it 4 stars. I absolutely agree. What makes Revenge of the Sith by far the best of the prequels for me, even though I did like and defend episode 1 and 2, much to everybody's surprise, but this completely puts episode 1 and 2 to shame. This is what they should have been. This is the only prequel I do consider that captures the magic and is in the same league of the originals any day. It is the one prequel that we all needed, the one we all wanted to see. Finally get to see Anakin turn to the dark side and how he became Darth Vader, how he lost everything. This is going to be a tragedy of epic proportions. Shit is going to go down. People are going to die. Oh, people were just like, at the time, it was a phenomenal. This is going to be awesome. Finally, the prequels have a chance to redeem themselves. Now, I understand why people hated Phantom Menace Attack of the Clones, because admittedly, even though I gave them positive reviews, they weren't perfect, far from it. But Revenge of the Sith, I don't understand why some people, major Star Wars fans particularly, still hate this film and call it a disgrace to Star Wars. I just think they're being way too harsh and are beyond nitpicky at this point. I mean, come on guys, at least even if this isn't the best Star Wars movie, it doesn't have to be. At least George Lucas tried. He made an effort, and that's evident in the film's amazing, epic opening scene, which is the opening battle over Coruscant and Obi-Wan's and Anakin's attempt to break onto General Grievous' ship and rescue Chancellor Palpatine. This is an awesome opening. It's great popcorn fun. We get some awesome action and epic lightsaber duels, and this is how Phantom Menace Attack of the Clones should have opened. This feels like Star Wars, and even though Count Dooku is wasted in this film, as he only gets 2 minutes of screen time, literally, he does play an important part in Anakin's turn to the dark side, when Palpatine just orders Anakin to kill him. And Anakin is filled with grief after he's done that, and you're like, geez, Anakin really went that far. My gosh, I'm actually engaged in a Star Wars prequel. This is great drama. Thank you, George Lucas. Not to mention the lightsaber duel of Count Dooku is awesome. It is so much better than the underwhelming duel from Attack of the Clones. At least there's more substance to it this time. People complain that there's too many lightsaber fights in this film, because this film has 5 lightsaber duels in general, but I have to disagree. People complained about the lack of action in episode 1 and 2, and then when we do get a prequel that is all action, they still complain. I mean, make up your mind, guys. And the part where Anakin returns home to Coruscant and Padme tells him she's pregnant with, spoiler alert, Luke and Leia, it's a genuinely natural and very believable reaction. Hayden Christensen actually gives a really believable and a charismatic and downright powerful performance in this film. He is leagues better here than he was in Attack of the Clones. Admittedly, that was his first film. That was understandable, but here he's so much more confident in the role. He is not a Padawan teenager anymore. He's a man now, and he is a badass Jedi and a genuinely good man who unfortunately lost anything. And the romance in this film between Padme and Anakin, it's so much better here than it was in Attack of the Clones. It's not boring, it's actually sweet, it's actually engaging. There's none of that cringe-worthy dialogue. And and there's a sense of urgency to it, and it's going to lead to something great when Anakin has visions of Padme dying in childbirth, and he believes because he failed to save his mother, he can't fail to save Padme as well. Yeah, people really argued that episode 1 and 2 weren't necessary and this was the only prequel we needed, but I'd argue that without those events in episode 1 and 2, the stuff that is happening now in Revenge of the Sith wouldn't be as strong. Finally, we're getting a real compelling story. Even Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship is done brilliantly in this film. Finally, they're not bitching at each other anymore. They have a great banter, risk lives for each other, and you get a true sense of their friendship. And Anakin and Palpatine's relationship is the main focus of the film. This is where Palpatine, played by the brilliant Ian McDermott, really shines. He is truly phenomenal in this film. Sorry I didn't talk about him much in episode 1 and 2 because he has such a minor role in those two, but this is his film. I'd go as far as saying he gave his best performance in the Star Wars series here, particularly because he gets the most to do. He gets way more to do than he did in Return of the Jedi. He just sat, for the most part, he just sat in a chair in that movie, but it's great seeing him put his plan to manipulate Anakin to the dark side into action. He knows Anakin will want to save his wife from death. He's playing with Anakin's emotions. He knows by putting Anakin on the Jedi Council that they won't make him a master. He knows that will piss Anakin off. And by far, one of the best scenes in the film, and one of the best scenes in any Star Wars film, yes, I will go that far, the opera scene. It's such a great moment when Palpatine's telling Anakin about a Sith legend, Darth Plagueis the Wise, who was of course Palpatine's master, who he presumably murders in his sleep. And I think Darth Plagueis could be Anakin's father, since he could control midichlorians to create life. That's how Shmi got pregnant, probably. We'll find out later, but there's so much backstory and mythology there, and that scene is beautifully lit and shot, and the CGI in this film, yeah, it probably is overused, just like Phantom Menace: Attack of the Clones, but it looks way better. It looks way cleaner, particularly because technology did improve by 2005, and it does feel more like the originals than the other two prequels ever did. And you can complain in the first half of Revenge of the Sith there is a bit of filler, but I think that works. It creates a great build up to the epic second half of the film where the shit really goes down. And the part where Yoda and Obi-Wan go off, Yoda goes to help the Wookiees on Kashyyyk, and Obi-Wan gets to kill General Grievous on Utapau. Yeah, they felt like filler, but they were great filler, and Yoda and Obi-Wan had to be out of Coruscant when Anakin did turn, as they are the only two Jedi that survive in the originals. That's a great foreshadowing of that. And the Obi-Wan fight with Grievous is so awesome. It's so creative. I love General Grievous, how he keeps coughing. He has a badass design too. The fight turns first into a fight with 4 lightsabers. That's so cool, and then it turns into a chase, and then a fist fight without lightsabers. And people say the fights in the prequels are uncreative. Then Anakin finally discovers that Palpatine is the Sith Lord. How did he not figure that out sooner? So Anakin turns Palpatine over to the Jedi, and we get this phenomenally, unbelievably powerful scene where, without any dialogue, of Anakin and Padme just looking out of the window at each other, and Anakin in that moment believes, yes, he may be the Sith Lord and evil, and saving him may be wrong, but it's the only way to save Padme. And George Lucas is capable of drama when he shows instead of tells, and the fight between Palpatine and Mace Windu, a lot of people hate it. I don't know why. I think it's epic. We finally get to see Samuel L. Jackson pull out his purple lightsaber and kick some ass, and we see Palpatine, this surprisingly an amazing fighter for his age, and when this is the critical turning point in the movie when Palpatine's just throwing his lightning at Mace, and Mace is blocking it with his lightsaber, just completely burning and scarring his face. It's a brutal, horrific scene to watch, and when Mace is going to strike Palpatine with his lightsaber, Anakin just whips out the lightsaber, cuts Mace Windu's hand off, and Palpatine bombards Mace with his lightning, throws him out of the window. Then he finally gets up, and this is where the film gets truly amazing for me, where he finally names Anakin Darth Vader and carries out Order 66. And Order 66, it's hard to watch. It is one of the greatest Star Wars scenes, in my opinion. John Williams' score is so powerful. It's just heart-wrenching. Seeing this genocide, seeing all the Jedi being wiped out so easily, and Anakin does the most barbaric thing ever. He kills the younglings, not even the children are spared. This film is so dark. This is probably easily the darkest of the Star Wars films, certainly the prequels. There are scenes here that will legitimately scare kids for life. It's the reason why this movie was rated 12A in the UK and PG-13 in the US, whereas all the other Star Wars films were rated U to PG. It's better. It's best, parents. It's best if you watch this with your kids on their first viewing. When Anakin murders the separatists and the Traitor Federation Viceroy, a lot of people hated those villains, so they might be satisfied to see them die, but it's brutal, showing Anakin just cutting them down mercilessly. And when Palpatine's giving that epic charismatic speech when he's declaring the Empire, thanks a lot Jar Jar, in the last film, and it kind of reminds you of The Godfather. This film, finally we're actually caring about what's going on. It has us gripped. When Obi-Wan and Yoda return to the temple, they discover the horrible truth that Anakin and Palpatine are the two Sith Lords, and Obi-Wan realizes to be faced. Obi-Wan is really conflicted. You feel for him because he doesn't want to kill Anakin. He doesn't want to kill the boy he's trained and the great lifelong friend he's come to know. And when Padme hears about this, she races off to Mustafar, the volcanic planet, which looks so cool, by the way. And I know people complain that Padme doesn't do much in this film, but she has an excuse for that because she's pregnant, and you feel really bad for her because as well as being pregnant, she's having to come to terms that her husband has now become a psychopath and she's lost him. It truly breaks her heart. Then Obi-Wan and Anakin get into the best lightsaber fight in the prequels, hands down, and one of my favourite lightsaber fights in the series, the Battle of Heroes on Mustafar. I know it goes on for a long time, but it's worth every second because the spectacle, the emotion of it, it's just epic. And then when Anakin gets burned alive, it's truly a disturbing moment, and Ewan McGregor gives his best performance in the prequels in this moment where he goes, "You are the chosen one, you are my brother Anakin, I love you." It's a heart-wrenching speech, and you truly believe Obi-Wan and Anakin actually were lifelong friends. I even love Yoda's fight with Palpatine, and especially their Force battle, where we get to see two of the most powerful Jedi and Sith actually clash. And when Padme dying of a broken heart was stupid, George Lucas. I mean, surely she thought Luke and Leia were a reason to live. She is their mother after all, and hearing James L. Jones as Darth Vader when Anakin gets the suit put on was epic. I know George Lucas kind of ruined it with that stupid no, but it was still worth it. So the brilliant ties into the original trilogy happened. Luke and Leia dropped off on Alderaan and Tatooine, and thankfully Jar Jar Binks did not get a single line of dialogue. And guys, I honestly consider Revenge of the Sith by far my favourite of the prequels, and an underrated classic. It actually got the pacing better, the acting better, the effects better, the dialogue better, the script better. It had a compelling story. it ended the prequels with a bang. It completely made up for episode 1 and 2. Even if you don't like the prequels, you got to admit George Lucas actually tried. I give Revenge of the Sith 5 stars out of 5. Well, I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this review and stay tuned for my New Hope review. What do you think of Revenge of the Sith? Comment, let me know. If you like this video and subscribe if you want to, and on Google Plus, and I'll see you all then. Bye, guys.